It's not the same.
We haven't even looked at the first slides yet. We finished the second.
That's true.
That's right.
Yeah. So a little summary of what happened in the past 2 weeks. It was, even though last week was kind of flat or red in 3 of the 4 indices, but in the past 2 weeks we still have very strong upside momentum, especially for the first week. If you remember the Research Corner. The weekly chart for the past 6 weeks.
We were basically, it was a nothing, it was, 0.25% or something.
Yeah, 0.25. But the week
that
before
was on the NASDAQ, right? Because the SPX still closed up.
Yeah, SPX is barely 0.2%.
Nothing.
Hey, it's up.
It is up.
Yeah.
We got to keep positive.
Yeah. Old guys like him, they get really excited when it's up.
That's right. We do.
A rare occurrence.
Yeah, but still, you can't see for the first week in May. It was pretty strong. It was very strong. Yeah.
And I won't.
So we end up having 7 out of 11 trading days. That's actually hit the record highs in the past 11 days. Yeah, it's still pretty strong. So let's take a look at the classic standard iron Condor. Managed by 25% profit target, no stop loss. What happened in the past 11 trading days? So we have 2 big losses, pretty much hit the max loss. So on average, it was negative $150, 149-ish.
Okay.
And we have another challenging day, which is 14th, which was Thursday, getting very close to the expiration.
Yeah, and some of those, I guess one of them on the 13th, you had...
13, it didn't even look back, the market.
Well, wait, which one was that? Oh,
13 and 6.
Yeah, so there's one of them that, was kind of flat throughout the session. I think that's the 13th.
What do you mean?
The
13 was
6th,
strong.
the 6th was just straight down.
No, both are up days.
Up days, I mean, from P&L standpoint. Like on the 13th, you had kind of a point in time where you were slight winner / small loser when you're looking at those trades. I don't know if you do that in real.
Actually, we hit like a 20% profit for a certain period of time, but no trigger is a no trigger in this chart.
And we go by the book here.
Yeah.
25%.
Going by the book, which is what they usually throw at a Batista. But go ahead.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
Okay, so we know it's a pretty much negative if we just keep the standard management. So next slide, we show these 3 challenging days, 2 losing days, and the other one's very close to the expiration. We were able to take it off. So the 13th, we had a kind of a trading in range in the first 1.5 hour until 10. And went like straight down all the way, the P&L wise, which means the stock price actually went straight up. No, it was a stock price actually trading in range in the first hour. So the P&L wise, we were able to fluctuate between 0 and 20%.
But it was still breached. Like you had a move that was too much where the call spread, because it happened so quickly, it doesn't move all that much. It just trades at half the width. That's a lot of the problem with these upside face rippers is like you'll see for the first couple hours, you're at basically a scratch because you do the trade at like $3, $4, $5 and the call spread is right at the money. It trades at $4 or $5.
Yeah.
So you're out like a small amount of money, but as time passes and the market stays where it is, the decay goes against you. You have a negative theta, whereas
if you're in the money,
if you're in the money or right at the money. And that starts to really ramp up as you get closer to expiration at the last couple hours of the day.
So 13th, when we measure by open to close, it was not a big move. It's only 0.5% from open to close. So we actually had a huge gap overnight between 12 and 13. So I believe from close to close is 1.5% or somewhere. It's a pretty big update, but from open to close is actually not that big. The problem for this day is the equity, the SPX price never even came back. There's no reverse. There are tiny reverse after 130, but the stock price already breached long call strike, not even short call strike. So there's no help of manager winners at all on 13th. For 6, we saw some fluctuation between 12 and noon. but the P&L was not good enough to trigger that 25%. Yeah, we hit like 20% very closely. That's actually '06, and then the market just went up again. We had a couple of days went really strong in the afternoon.
Yes.
There's no looking back. And the 14th, so last Thursday, lucky, we were able to trigger like a 25 or even 30%, but getting very close to the expiration. So this is the tricky part. If you hold it very long until the end of the expiration, a tiny market reverse can give you huge profit back.
Yeah.
You're pretty much long in the money options.
Yeah, you're long the put spread in this case because you're short the call spread. So you have the short call spread that's at the money. Short call spread, long put spread, same thing.
Yeah.
But those three of the batch lasted from until noon to the end of the day. Like you had to hold them to get that 25%, which is, you got to hold the risk at the end of the day, basically.
Yeah. So again, the biggest risk against the Iron Condor is probably not only the magnitude of the move during the day, is does it ever have a decent pullback or reverse during the day and stay there for at least 10 to 30 minutes. That's the opportunity.
Yeah, some of those days I bet, because we had those like random 20-point pull, like you get like that. And I say random because you have the market basically up, let's say it's up 50 and it stays up 50 for 3 hours. And then you have like one 10-minute blip where it sells off 20 points in the middle of the day or later afternoon.
You might be in the bathroom at that time.
Yeah, exactly. It's that quick.
I didn't go to the bathroom. You never heard this story? For 16 years when I was on the floor of the exchange.
In his pants. That's
right.
where you go.
You don't leave.
Yeah, never.
Stay focused.
Yeah.
But back then, you don't have those
Back then, we didn't have bathrooms. We did it outside.
And you didn't have GTC orders.
That's right. That's right. Well, no. We had Frankie doing our GTC orders. Everybody would always trade through Frankie. So you never got filled. Sorry, Frankie.
You had to wait till Frankie.
It's just a boring day, Frankie. I didn't mean to do that to you in the chat room. You're a great broker. Excellent broker.
So it's actually good to have features like a 25 or 50% profit target in Tasty Trade platform. It's actually help you to manage that. If you don't want to watch the trades every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, so we had a couple of analysis for the rolling, right? Rolling to the rolling up the put side and rolling down the call side, or rolling both sides. So we want to take a look at if these rolling strategy can help us reduce those losses or improve the performance. So this chart is we roll both sides. So when when either side hits the premium drop below 0.50, like 50 cents, we roll. Roll call or put side. Both. And our profit target is 35% of the combined premium. So we keep it simple. If we add additional premium and we target the combined. Combined.
Got it.
So this one, we did improve the performance by 45%. So we reduced the loss by 45%.
That's pretty good. I mean,
no, it's excellent, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the average 149 in the previous slides. Right now, we reduced the average $84.
Yeah, so you drop your average P&L by like 40%.
Yeah, almost 40 to
40.
50%.
Yeah.
So we still were not able to take those losers off because the market was so one-directional moved.
Well, you shouldn't expect that, too. When the market's up 1% every single day.
Yeah.
You can't expect that either.
No, of course not.
Right.
Of course not.
Right.
So we're able to improve the performance. And next, let's take a look at the improvements. So improvements, the average P&L, success rate, and CVAR, or risk control. So for P&L, I tested multiple scenarios. If we target 25% of the combined premium, 30, 35, 50, these are kind of a preferred profit target we had in our previous analysis. So all these 4 scenarios, we can improve the average P&L. So that yellow red dot line is the standard Iron Condor. So we can improve the P&L by a certain amount or reduce the losses.
Right.
And the success rate, because we were not able to get rid of those 2 losses, so the success rate is still the same. 2 losers out of 11 trades.
Yeah.
And the CVAR improved in every single scenario. So if you want to reduce risk, It doesn't mean rolling definitely can give you some of more losses if the market starts to reverse back, like in a pretty
bottom intraday.
Yeah. But in general, over the long term, it can increase your premium and reduce your risk by decent amount.
Yeah. And your CVAR, the biggest losses stay the same just because they're
kind of defined on entry, right? I mean,
and it's full losers.
Right.
Like your big risk is like the full loss on that trade, which is the width.
Just like yours would be on the put side of the one that we just did here. It's going to show a bigger CVAR if we were to, because it's a bullish strategy, slightly bullish strategy. More,
well, you're only collecting on the rolls. You're only getting like what?
Right.
50 cents more profit.
Yeah, it depends on rolling down a call or put.
Call is going to be
more expensive.
Is going to be better, but just in general, it's probably 50 cents.
No. Rolling is a call side is more than $2.
Yeah, but then you're only targeting 25% of that. Like 35, you're only adding like 50 to 75 cents of potential more value to your trade if you were to exit it at 35% after the management. So you're going to be the same win rate, the same max risk. It's just it's gonna tighten up the average P&L because those metrics are moving. Your winners are just getting slightly bigger.
Exactly. And loser is gonna be smaller.
Yes. Yeah. Slightly smaller. The average loser. The bigger losers are the same.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. You only reduce like 50 cents or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. So next slide. So we're going to do some macro analysis of how these rolling can improve the positions. So on average losses days, we only have two. The improvement's $120 per day on winning days. So rolling didn't only happen on losing days. If you're winning days, when the market moves quickly, you still can roll, but end up with a winner eventually. So on winning days, on average, we improve $80, and hourly improve is $25 per hour. So you actually increase your efficiency if your trades has to hold a little bit longer than you expected. So the only downside is that the average holding duration is longer. It really depends on how bad the day is. Of course, if it's a losing day, you have to hold a little longer. So adding another position is probably going to cost the holding duration is going to be slightly longer. The average trigger time in the past 2 weeks is 10:10, so a little bit past 90 minutes. So this is actually 100 minutes. I believe last time when we analyzed April, it was 9:50-ish.
Yeah.
So you really expect to trigger that rolling around 10-ish on average.
Okay, that's interesting.
Which is actually okay.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
Not too long.
Yeah, I mean, ours hasn't moved today, so.
No.
I mean, but it lines up 30 more minutes until got to do something. Got to roll.
Opner.
No, but you entered trade a little bit late than the 8:30, right?
Yeah.
8:50 something.
Yeah.
I'm a little slow. Okay, it takes me a little bit.
You're busy.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy, not a bright guy.
Yeah, not a bright guy.
Right. Nice guy though. I remember.
Okay, so next one is the strike testing. As usual, the testing is actually not testing. Is the average time that the stock price or SPX stay beyond your long or short your short strikes, short call or short put. On average, 11%, 11.5% stay beyond call, and slightly lower than 10% below the short put. Again, these 2 weeks for the call side, we definitely see more breaches and more trading time beyond that short call, but less time beyond lower than the short put. But this stats is better than what we saw in the April, because in April we have 0% staying below put, if you remember.
Yeah, it was
and
20. I think it was 20 something.
20 or 22 beyond call side. That was actually one of the most extreme scenarios we've ever seen. So this one is kind of going back to the normal range, getting close. I actually did the other study we're probably going to use in the June, is how the zero DTE perform at the all-time at 52-week market highs. We see those kind of revert back to the normal scenario after 2-3 weeks. So those stats come back to normal range, but in the first 1 or 2 weeks.
So at those periods of time, you probably get, after the 2 weeks, you probably get some sideways. is what the
So the percentage of sideways is actually become bigger and bigger, getting close to the long-term average.
Yeah, when you
the first week and first 2 weeks, it's very tough, especially the first week.
Yeah. I mean, that in hindsight is pretty, it describes what we just experienced over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, but that hindsight is easier than the bottom V-shape rally, because the all-time high, you see that one.
Yeah.
The bottom rally, we don't know if it's a rally or just kind of a dead cat bounce or whatever.
Yeah.
But that 52-week highs is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last one, do we even have one? Oh yeah.
Yes.
So the put spread. If you're just one on long delta, of course, in the past 6 weeks is a heaven for you. You have 100% win rate. Everything beats long-term average. You don't need to worry about anything about downside.
It's free money.
It's free money.
Yeah.
It's free money.
You take
I
off
love
your-
free money. How come I can't find it?
Well, because we're looking back at the free money. When you're
That's-
in the moment,
that's the key.
it doesn't feel like free money.
You were not here last week. And last week we did a put spread analysis. On average, you take off your put spread in
30 minutes.
30 minutes. 70% of the 40% you take it off in 30 minutes. In 70% of trades take off it in 1 hour.
Oh. I mean, think about that. You just make your nut and
Just
be
go
done
for
the
it.
day.
Just go for it.
Yeah. Amazing.